Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Jolie Whitney. Here on Across the Fence, we're fond of saying that the first class a Vermonter takes at the University of Vermont is when they attend their first 4-H meeting. Here's a little history lesson to begin. When Congress passed the Smith-Lever Act of 1914, one of the 3 objectives it provided was to organize boys and girls clubs to teach how to manage, grow, and prepare market crops and animals, and to demonstrate how to save surplus products by home canning. Some of the language and the activities are a bit old-fashioned, but 4-H remains a stalwart in educating young people through experiential learning or learning by doing. And today, we're going to talk to 2 standout ambassadors of Vermont's 4-H. First, I'd like to welcome Melinda Birch back on Across the Fence. She's a 4-H educator in Essex and Orleans County, and she's also joining me with Liviya Russo. She's been a member of Vermont's 4-H since she was 5 years old. And she's a member of, Riverbend's 4-H in Lunenburg. And I believe you were also a delegate ambassador on a course in Texas. So you've got a lot under your belt already in 4-H. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And of course, a belated congratulations to you. Melinda, let's talk a little bit about 4-H in the Kingdom before we get going into some details. How many clubs do you guys have and what kind of activities do you do?
So I have about 20 clubs between the 2 counties, and I have approximately 125 to 140 youth in any given year. And we do a wide range of projects that, a lot of focus on the livestock areas, obviously, because those are the big ones. But we do a lot of STEM things and other activities within the 4-H clubs. Cloverbud, I have a new Cloverbud club that is really big, and she is doing a lot of activities with younger members, which not all clubs have the resources to work with the younger kids, but she is making efforts to work there. I have some new goat clubs, and it's just an exciting time. After COVID, we took kind of a hit with our numbers, and we're kind of growing back and getting some new faces, and that's exciting.
And you mentioned your 4-H program goes a little bit beyond the traditional livestock components. Can you tell me how many people are involved in those other projects?
So I do a babysitting course a couple different times a year, and that might add an additional 40 to 50 youth. There I do other statewide programs with some other educators where we had, for example, we did a grant last year with the Department of Ag in Vermont, or food markets, I guess is the proper term for it, where we brought school children to farms. Over 200 children came and did a career day of other careers that they could find that were connected to the dairy industry. So things like that as well.
That's incredible.
In our area. Yeah.
And Liviya, you started when you were about 5, if I'm right, in the Cloverbud program. So why did you join, and what's made you stay so long?
It was really easy for me to join. My mother was the leader of our club, so it was just extremely easy for me to just kind of get in. We had a family farm, so I was able to show cows. I just showed the cows that were at my property. But I kind of really grew a passion. Like, I started to really get into showing. I just found my happy place. And I kind of stayed. I really, really like showing, but I also learned skills like grit and communication skills, kind of like really life skills that we may learn in school, but I feel like they're more prominent in the agriculture industry, and that's where I learned them, was for the 4-H.
So you mentioned showing. Do you have a favorite activity to do in 4-H?
Yes, I love showing my cows. I kind of see my show ring as how someone sees a basketball court. It's game time. It kind of just like makes me happy, really. But I also like to speak about what I love to do. Agriculture is kind of like a little subject, and not many people know about it, so I love to share what I love.
All right, and you're sharing what you love in more than just Vermont. You went to Texas for the 4-H Livestock Ambassador Program. What did you learn while you were there?
I learned a lot about meat science. As a dairy kid, I was not familiar to any of this. I learned a lot about sheep, beef cows, pigs as well. I learned a lot about meat science, grading beef as well. I had no idea about any of that. And as well as reproduction, I learned a lot of things that I didn't know. I really love reproduction, and I just learned so much more from the professors there.
Absolutely. Did you make a lot of friends with your peers who were doing it as well?
Yeah, so my roommate, she was from Texas. They kind of split up the out-of-state kids, so there's only 4 out-of-state kids. I, myself, a girl from Connecticut, Florida, and Virginia. But my roommate from Texas, her name was Lainey. She was amazing. She helped me meet so many new people from Texas, and she knew a lot about Texas as well as I've never been there before. So it was really cool to be able to talk to her. And also, a former competitor of mine was also there. She was from Virginia. I competed against her in 2022 for National Dairy Quiz Bowl in Nolly in Kentucky. So I was able to re-meet her, and it was sad to me that agriculture is that small, that we're re-meeting people from all over the country, but it was amazing to see her again. So.
And this program wasn't a vacation. You were doing a lot of work, and you learned about
Yeah.
stuff from nutrition to just animal reproduction. Did you have a favorite of all the things you learned?
Animal reproduction for sure. In college, I want to kind of specify in animal reproduction. Also, the professor, he really, really did a good job explaining something to me. Meat science was a close second, though, just because I had never seen it before. So it was really interesting to learn something new.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were at the Texas A&M campus, but did you manage to get off and visit any ranches while you were in Texas?
Yes, so one of my favorite, we only went to one ranch. It's called 44 Farms. They serve nearly 500 Walmarts in the southeast U.S., and they serve over 100 restaurants in Texas. They have registered Angus beef cattle and only registered Angus. We did a tour of their farm and kind of learned the history, why their name is called 44 Farms. It was just really amazing to me to see how organized there was, because the cows with the same nutritional needs were in the same pens. Every cow was taken care of in the way that it needed to be, and it was with its peers that were needed the same magnesium level per se. So it was really, really fun to go there. Not a ranch, but we went to H-E-B grocery store, and that was something that stuck out to me. We had to literally go into this store and talk to strangers about what their preference was when they were buying beef, or just buying meat in general, if they have preference from grass-fed to, say, feedlot, so they're on silage or something like that, and just kind of get their perspective on agriculture, and see if they were just had any information on the agriculture industry in general. And I like meeting strangers, so it was okay to me, but we also had to be respectful of the shoppers and not bother them if they did not want to be talked to.
And something that's important on the farm and off is
Yeah.
etiquette. Can you tell me a little bit about the etiquette dinner you guys did there?
Yeah, we had to go into this ballroom area, and it was a 3-course meal that we had. This lady, I definitely do not remember her name. I wish that I did, but she was talking to us about how to be professional in the dining sense with your boss or maybe new employer that you want to be working for. And she told us that if we rush through our beverage that we're drinking, since normally they're 3-course meals, and if you rush through your beverage before you get your main meal, it may show that you rush through tasks at work without getting the actual directions. Or if you are too slow at eating your dinner, you have to find really the right pace that you might be too slow in the workplace. So it was a lot of information that I did not even think existed. So
yeah, I didn't realize how fast I drank my water.
I know.
That much.
It makes you think about those things when you go into a restaurant,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Melinda, you were involved in the process
Yes.
of Liviya being
Yes.
able to go to this opportunity. Is this something that happens every year?
It's a potential if we have some discussions to do within our own program to see if it's something we want to promote. The one thing that I find a little difficult with it is one person from the state who gets to go. So, we have a lot of opportunities we're trying to provide to our teens in the state. So maybe it might be an every other year or an every 3-year opportunity. I know Texas A&M wants to expand their programming for out-of-state youth, so more come to it. It was a fantastic and phenomenal program, and she got so much out of it. And I would like to see it grow, but we have some work to do on the ground here.
What does a designation like that mean for, Liviya and her experience, but also Vermont's 4-H overall?
It keeps the older youth involved, providing these leadership opportunities and opportunities to travel. It really sparks their interest in our community as a whole and where they're connected to it. And this was a food systems trip, and she really gained a lot of information, and she's supposed to do some community service when she comes back and giving back, and so that's the path we're on right now, figuring out where she's going to be using her skills that she learned when she was out there.
Can you tell me a little bit about the community service involvement, either what you're planning to do or how 4-H really promotes community service?
One of my biggest goals, I had to write like 3 essays talking about what my plan was after I had gotten back from the trip, and I want to get young youth involved, not just like keeping kids in 4-H, but getting more younger youth, because we are the new face of agriculture. If there's none of us, there's no face. So one of my goals is I want to set up workshops, not just for getting kids to learn how to show cows, but more of just getting involved, seeing what 4-H has to offer, because when I was younger, all I thought was it was just showing cows. I just showed, that's all I did. I did not do any community speaking. I did not do any leadership activities at all. And I feel like so many kids are just scared to join because they think they're only going to be around the animals, when that's only a small part of 4-H. There's so much more. So I want to create workshops for kids in and out of 4-H, any age as well, as long as you're old enough to be in 4-H. There is an age limit, which sucks. But definitely just getting more kids involved. Definitely, there's not much around by my town. I do a lot of New Hampshire as well, but maybe traveling into Vermont more, because I live right on the border. So traveling more, going southern, maybe, because there's a lot more kids down there, just getting more kids involved.
And of course, you're very comfortable on this side of the camera anyway.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the media training component of what you did?
Yeah, so it was basically, we had scenarios, and we had to think of ways to not argue with our opposer, but kind of have a conversation. Like I mentioned before, agriculture is a touchy subject that not many people understand, or they're not familiar with. They just believe what they see or hear, and my job is to say the right things to make agriculture sound amazing like it actually is. And we had to be on like a fake camera, and we had like a person speaking to us, reading us questions, and a scenario, say, there's one scenario, a cow was in this chute to get their feet trimmed, and it said that the chute was like squishing them, but the chute wasn't actually squishing them. It was kind of relaxing them, kind of giving them like a massage to just calm them down while they were getting their feet trimmed. And our job was to say that to the opposer without making them sound like they were wrong or like we were the only person that was right. One thing that I would say is always ask 3 questions to get to know the person before you start just like spitting facts at them. Make yourself seem friendly and approachable, for sure.
And listen. I think listening skills are one of the biggest things with any of those types of activities.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you're a natural. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
If you're interested in getting your children or grandchildren involved with Vermont's 4-H, visit the contact information on your screen. Or if you're in the Northeast Kingdom or anywhere in Vermont, you can call Lindy at 1-866-260-5561. That puts a wrap on another Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. Have a good one.